I've been designing kitchens for a long time, and I've always believed in a client-led design approach. But there are certain kitchen upgrades that I've learned to put my foot down on. And I'm not talking about the ones that we've all heard of before, like the open shelves and the OTRs and the lazy Susans. Anyone can tell you that those things are regrettable, right? No, this list comes courtesy of 25 years in this industry, and these are things that you'll truly regret if you're not careful. Check out all these kitchens. What do you notice? They're all different styles, different colors, different sizes. Some you may like, others not so much. They all have one thing in common, however: islands with seating. And while I did curate these pictures to emphasize this, I didn't have to look very far. If you just type beautiful kitchens into Google, you'll find lots of kitchens just like this. The thing is that these kitchens are beautiful, so what could be regrettable about any of these? Recently, I had a consultation with a client who was changing the configuration of their kitchen. They were spending a considerable amount of money and looking to make some pretty major upgrades to the function and efficiency of their workflow. I noticed that their old island had an overhang with seating, but they had no stools, directly adjacent to a dining table. So it begged the question, does anyone ever sit at this island? The answer was no. No one ever sits there. It's a total waste. Now, I'm all for island seating if certain conditions are met and it makes sense for the homeowner. I think island seating can be great for kids, for instance, but designing a new kitchen with a new island that includes overhang when the old island was never sat at is very counterproductive from a functional design standpoint. Sure, it can look nice, just like in those pictures, but it can be a total waste of time, money, and effort to include seating that you're likely never going to use. A new island is not going to change your seating habits any more than it can make you a better cook. However, we blindly add seating to islands all the time. For some, it's because they just think it's the thing to do. They see those pictures and, yeah, seating makes sense, I guess. Others feel that it will improve the overall experience of their kitchen. And others do it because they do need seating in the kitchen, and this seems to be the easiest way to incorporate it. And to make matters worse, the amount of knee room provided for those overhangs is usually far less than what's actually comfortable for an adult. My minimum overhang clearance is 15 inches, but I always encourage people to measure their laps and then plan appropriately. If in fact you're going to sit there, it might as well be comfortable for you. Because this is a regret within a regret. You add island seating that's rarely used, partly because it's so uncomfortable to sit at. Having an island with seating that is never used is usually a big regret for many people. For those folks, adding extra storage would have been a better solution. The great part about the overhang is the extended countertop space, which makes the island that much more enjoyable to work on. However, don't be disillusioned with extra seating until you plan through the function and the island workflow. And never add overhang for seating at the expense of proper clearance in your kitchen. Yet another regret. Countertops are a big part of any kitchen renovation. There are plenty of material choices and many price points to consider. We all have our opinions as to which countertop might be the best, and hopefully you weigh all of these pros and cons out against your actual needs. But I'm not going to tell you what countertop you should or should not select, because the countertop you select is not the biggest regret in a renovation. The biggest regret comes when homeowners decide to drop a bunch of cash on upgrading their countertops and not addressing the needs of their cabinets. Now you might say the kitchen is fine the way it is, or the cost to upgrade the cabinets first is too high. And you might be right about the pricing issue, but the kitchen fine the way it is? I highly doubt it. I've been involved in thousands of kitchen renovations, and rarely, very rarely, is the kitchen fine the way it is. If you're in this position, be really honest with the state of function of your kitchen first, before you go upgrading your countertops. A new countertop is a great upgrade, but not at the expense of an already dysfunctional kitchen. Changing the cabinets later now becomes much more challenging, if not impossible, due to the countertop selection. My advice is to either continue to save for a full renovation or put that money into upgrading the non-functional parts of the kitchen first. Changing your countertop is not going to make your pantry or your base cabinets any easier to use, and it won't solve that mess of cutlery that you have spread out all over your kitchen. And if you need a new countertop due to damage or extreme wear and tear, then choose something that's easy to replace and easy on your wallet, in case you do need to upgrade your cabinets later. If your kitchen is functioning like a dream and there's no intention ever of changing the layout, only then would I recommend a countertop upgrade. At this point, it does make total sense. Otherwise, it could be a big waste of money and a huge regret. As if renovating your kitchen wasn't stressful enough with all the decisions that need to be made and made right because of time, money, and stress, there's an added layer to the design that many homeowners are a little afraid of. I know, because I used to be afraid of it too. Properly lighting your kitchen is a task that many find confusing, and depending on who's making the decisions for your renovation, you may not get a function-first lighting design approach. But this is exactly what takes your kitchen and puts it on another level. Poor lighting choices are a major regret for many homeowners. But what does poor lighting even look like? It looks like unwanted glare, scalloping light on cabinet doors, shadows on work surfaces, overly lit backsplashes, underlit task areas, improper fixture selection, color temperature mixture, insufficient fixture count, improper installation, and low CRI. That's 10 things that can go wrong, but a pretty simple lighting plan can alleviate all these issues before they are an unfortunate reality in your new kitchen. It's really brutal and completely avoidable. If lighting is installed with only the general illumination of the space in mind, you're going to end up with a lot of what I previously mentioned. And if your designer is unfamiliar or uncomfortable with providing detailed lighting plans, my design team has you covered. Click the link below to find out how we can assist you in your next renovation. Now, because you've lived in your kitchen for a number of years, you've become accustomed to how it flows and your work habits in it. When it comes time for a renovation, many homeowners struggle with changing the layout too drastically because it looks unfamiliar. It's hard for them to envision a change. However, it's really important that you don't mix up unfamiliar with non-functional. Designing a new kitchen exactly the same as the old kitchen is often a big regret. Now let me be clear, because sometimes the current layout is the best layout for the kitchen. In this case, making that layout more functional with accessories or design options will be the best approach. However, my experience tells me that there's often many ways to change or improve the layout that the homeowner just couldn't envision due to familiarity. And I get this all the time from clients during one-on-one consultations. Wow, Mark, I never thought of that. Or Mark, you're amazing. I didn't think that was an option. Okay, well, hopefully they're thinking that. If you don't explore the different ideas and opportunities in your space, I promise you that it's a mistake you will regret. Even if it leads you to the same layout that you currently have, the confidence that your money and time are going towards something that is truly a great space to work in is very valuable. However, almost always you'll discover new ideas and ways to make your workflow more efficient and your kitchen more functional. Before I tell you the biggest regret that homeowners have in their kitchens, let me list a few honorable mentions. The pot filler, a seemingly innocuous addition to one of my clients' kitchen until one night the cat rubbed up against the faucet handle and the water started flowing. Now, bad enough even if you caught it right away, but worse for them because it was the next morning. If you're installing a pot filler, just be aware of your cat. Could be a major regret. Not the cat. You can keep the cat. Just be careful with the pot filler. Double sinks. Why are these even still a thing? Once you've experienced a large single bowl sink and the flexibility it provides with both the sink and the sink cabinet, you'd never go back to a double. Many clients have lamented and they said they wish they had have listened to me, but alas, what can I do? I can only make suggestions. And of course, OTRs and open shelves. I mean, come on, I had to mention them, right? Regret City. Now, for the biggest regretful kitchen update that many homeowners are duped into believing is a good idea, corner cabinet solutions. Ugh, I hate even talking about corners. But here we go. Now, for those who are familiar with my content and more so my design philosophy, you'll know that I'm very much against corner cabinets. And if this is our first video together and you're hearing this, don't be too shocked. But I'm especially against Lazy Susans, Half Moon Lazy Susans, Super Susans, Le Mans, and just about any other corner cabinet insert. Except for the Magic Corner, which I'll explain in a second. To be fair though, anything is an upgrade from a corner base with just a shelf. Corner cabinet inserts attempt to make the space more usable, and they do look like an upgrade, but I want you to be warned. The space wasted and the potential dysfunction of the attached adjacent cabinets on both the right and left sides is really not worth it. Now wait a sec, Mark. The whole point of a Lazy Susan or any other corner solution is to make the space more functional. So what are you even talking about? I'm glad you asked. What's the cost of accessibility for you? The addition of a Lazy Susan reduces the usable cabinet space by 34%. So a third of the cabinet's usable space is compromised for increased access. But you also need to deal with the potential items falling off the back, which will be hard to retrieve because you have this accessory in your way. If you block off the corner, you'll reduce its capacity to 33.33%, basically the same amount. But now you don't have to worry about anything to do with the corner. You've completely blocked it off, but you're wasting the same amount of space. There's really no difference, except with the adjacent cabinets. They can now be designed to be more functional and more usable as drawer banks or pullouts or other specific use cabinets. Blocking the corner off does not waste as much space as you think it does. It's only an illusion. The moment you find yourself on your hands and knees trying to retrieve that item that fell off the back of your Lazy Susan is the moment you'll think to yourself, why didn't I listen to Mark? Just this one time. Just listen to him for once. Keep your OTRs and your open shelves. Just do the corner thing for me, please. I did mention the magic corner. If you find yourself with a blind corner cabinet, the best insert is the magic corner as it uses the most amount of the interior cabinet space. So I do give these a pass, however they are quite expensive, so just be aware of that if you're going down that road. Everything I mentioned needs to be planned and designed with intention. You'll run into way more regrets due to lack of proper planning than anything else. So be sure to check out this video next to help you discover how to properly plan for your kitchen to have the least amount of regrets. Hopefully you didn't regret watching this video, so give it a thumbs up if you found it helpful.